Are you sitting around waiting for the right time? The right time to make a change in your job, in your financials, in your spiritual, in your relationships? Well, here's what you need to know. Stop waiting. There is never going to be a right time. Stop telling yourself and stop listening to others telling you that you can't do something because the truth is you can. That's what we're talking about today with my guest is the power of moving forward, the power of taking control back and the power of always moving your feet so that you can go in the direction of getting alignment with your heart, your mind, and your soul. I'm Clara Capano, and this is Women Winning Their Way. Heidi, thank you so much for joining me today on Women Winning Their Way. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing well. And I always love, in the backdrop there, you have your name, Heidi with a Y. And I love that because everybody always gets my name confused too. So I love the clarity you're bringing to get it right off the bat there.
Yes.
So let's just dive in because we are going to be covering some really powerful topics and conversations today. But let's start off with just even this concept of the show. The whole idea of the show is to really empower women to live successfully and to do it on their terms. So when I talk about women winning their way, what does that even mean to you?
It means that I get to be peaceful finally, right? I get to decide when I'm going to do something, what I'm going to do. It doesn't mean I'm bossy. It means that I have all these ideas. And for a lot of my life, I felt like I was in a Tupperware container and somebody was sitting on top. And usually that was a boss. And I would have this idea and I would say, we could do this. We could do this for kids. We could do that. And I would get this. Well, we could, and there
Wow.
was always a but. And I'm
Mhm.
like, but why can't we do it? Well, the funds, or, somebody says we can't. And I don't see a ceiling. So I don't understand why we can't. If it's best for kids or if it's best for what we do. So I had to bust out of that Tupperware, right? I don't want anybody pushing down on me, telling me I can't do something, especially when I think it makes sense for the betterment of the world, for the betterment of kids. So I was tired of hearing but. I was tired of hearing no. So I just am doing it my way.
Yes, and I love that, and that analogy of the Tupperware, I can relate to that. I cannot tell you how many times I have probably almost been fired because I had the same concept of there's always a way. Don't tell
Yes.
me no. Let's just work it. Let's massage it. Let's find a way because it's the right thing to do. And
Yes.
I really struggled in the corporate world when I could see things being done that were not the right thing. And I was always the one that spoke up. So let's talk about this because I think, a big challenge that people have is they want to get out of the Tupperware container. They don't know how. So, you gave the idea that there was a time where you were there, and obviously your journey has allowed you to break out of that box in that Tupperware container. How did you do that? How did you go from just having the vision to actually having the bravery and the courage to do it? Because I know there's other women out there that are ready to, but they don't know how.
Yeah, I think that fear kills us, right? And I
Mhm.
fear completely left my life when a tragedy happened, honestly. And I think you look at life differently. So I was an assistant principal in school. My child was sexually abused in a school that I didn't work in. And it blew our world apart. The behavior was different. I felt different. I felt sad, depressed, defensive, angry, everything. And so then that almost sparked my, you know what? I don't care anymore. And I'm still going to be respectful. I'm still going to respect authority. I'm still going to do what I'm told, but I'm done with that. Right. So that's when 6 years into being a principal, I kind of was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. I was in that Tupperware and I needed to bust out, or I don't know what was going to happen. So I busted out and I resigned from regular principalship, right? 25 years of working in schools. And I said, I'm going to do it my way. And so I started my own business. I started my own speaking business. I keynote, I do all kinds of things, and now I don't have somebody telling me I can't. And
Mhm.
I think that it's that fear factor because I was so fearful. It was, oh my gosh, how am I going to get paid? I don't know anything about business. What am I going to do to pay the bills? I have 3 kids. I have a husband. I have dogs. I have a car. Like, how am I going to pay these bills? And that's what I was so afraid of. I wasn't really afraid of you could do it. You could do it because I believe in myself, right? I will bet on myself, but I was afraid of all that stuff. And
Mhm.
then when that fear goes away, it's almost like you live in peace. And I know that sounds weird because my life is not perfect. There's nothing perfect about it. I work hard every day, but I don't have that anymore. I don't have, nobody is telling me what I can do and what I can't do. Nobody's telling me, oh, we couldn't do that. No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure out a way to do it. So, unfortunately, tragedy brought me to that,
Mhm.
but sometimes I believe that adversity, it opens things up, and for me, it did, and I decided to go for it.
And I love that word, adversities, because I think, again, whether that's trauma or a life change or anything. And I love this idea of living in peace, because I think the misnomer is that living in peace is the same as peaceful. It's not. Again, your life isn't necessarily every day filled with peacefulness, because there's chaos going on and all of those. But when you're living in alignment, you can live in peace. And I want to dive a little bit deeper, because you hit on something that I hear a lot. And I know I faced it before I decided to take the leap. It's the fear of, how am I going to make it work? Because we are sold this dream that having a real job is security.
Mhm,
And again, for some people, that works and it's great. For others, I actually find there's more security working for myself,
mm.
because I can call the shots in doing this. And, you mentioned again going through adversity. If there is a woman out there that is having something, whether it's changing jobs and going to a different company, whether it's going for a promotion or starting their own business, there is this fear of the future. What if I do this and it doesn't work out the same way? Or, like you said, I've got bills to pay, I've got food that needs to be put on the table for my kids. What would be something to a word of advice that maybe you would get women to start thinking about, that could give them the strength and the courage to take that leap?
I think the first thing I would say is this: how's it going for you right now? How unhappy are you right now? So if you
Mhm.
took a leap, what's the worst thing that could happen? It doesn't work. So then guess what? You could go back to corporate America, or you could go back to the classroom, or there's always something else, but you never, ever, ever know if you don't actually go out and just do it. And
Mm.
the thing is, when you do it, like you said, there's no way I will ever have a boss again. Like, there's no way. I don't know how I ever did. Like, that's what's so weird to me, is the whole thing of working for myself, knowing that you can call the shots and that you can do it. And I think a lot of women, they know that. But again, that fear, seeps in. But I say, just go for it. Write down the pros and cons. Write down what could happen. This is not a life or death situation. We're going to figure things out. And then once you get through that stuff, because the thing is, you're going through stuff right now anyway. You're unhappy, you're in that container and somebody's on you. You're already going through it. So to me, that's the definition of an insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over, expecting something different. I couldn't continue to count on other people, or other people to say, oh, that's a good idea. I had to start counting on myself. And I think
Yeah.
that when you start having that feeling as somebody working for somebody else, that's your first start. That's when it's like, okay, the fire is lit, the fire is lit. And then you just have to get that, you know what, damn it, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And the thing is, nothing was totally in place for me. It's not like I had, okay, well, this is my backup job, this is my big savings account. I didn't have any of that. And I just got to a point where I was like, I'm done. I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's just, there's no right time. People say that too, right? There's no right time to get married. There's no right time to have kids.
Exactly.
There's no right time for anything, but if you don't do it, what if?
Exactly.
What
And I
if you did?
really like that idea of assessing where you are now, because, like you said, you're unhappy right now. You're not
Mhm.
living authentically right now. It may not change. It
Yeah.
may change. And
Yes.
if it's not better, you can always come back.
Yes.
It's not like once you say, "Oh, I'm gonna go in this direction," you can never go back.
Right.
And you can. And that's perfectly okay too. So I think that's a really great reminder. I am a huge proponent of everything happens for a reason. And all the things that we went through brought us to where we are today. But let's just dream for a moment. What if you would have been able to let go of this fear when you were younger?
Oh,
What do you think the potential for a greater life, could have been? Because I think sometimes I just think, what if I would have known this back then? Right?
yes. I would, oh gosh, um I would be completely financially independent. I can tell you that because what you do is you rely on somebody else for a paycheck, and now I rely on myself. And if I would have known that earlier, I would have been more free. I would have, because what you said at the beginning is so true. We're sold this thing that, okay, you have to go to college and then you have to get a job and you have to work for people and you have to work 9 to 5 and you have to, we don't take enough time off. We're always at work. We're going, and we wonder why everybody's sick and doesn't feel good and mentally ill, and like we wonder, right? Because
Mhm.
we work way too hard. So I feel like if I would have understood working smarter, but then again, nobody tells you that, right?
No.
You kind of follow the path of what you're supposed to be. And that's what I talk about a lot when I talk to teachers and educators. I'll say, not every kid is made for school. Every kid it has I talk about like how are you smart? Not how smart are you, but how are you smart? So figure out, help young men and young women figure out how they're smart and let them go, right? Let them figure out what that is. It doesn't have to be, I have to go work in a factory, or I have to go be an electrician, or I have to go to college because mom and dad said I did. And
Mhm.
I think that it's not like you have to be a jerk and a rebel, but always having that seed of what if I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. And yeah, it's scary. And money always gets in the way. But again, I go back to, there's never the right time,
Yeah.
ever,
Yeah.
ever, you
Yep.
know?
One of the reasons I wanted to ask you this is, and you kind of answered it, and I want to go a little bit deeper because being that you are in the field of education, I just think we are doing such a disservice to the future generation of we've escaped the Tupperware container. And at the same time that we're escaping it as a culture and society, we're putting our children back in it. So, how can we, as professionals, as parents, as adults, how can we set the stage so that we can encourage the ones coming behind us that they don't have to get in that Tupperware? Do you know that less than 75% of people do not get enough sleep? I know for years that this was something I struggled with. I would fall into bed exhausted, only to then toss and turn all night long and wake up feeling unrested. Sleep is critical to our health, well being, and productivity. I am so excited to partner with Lisa Gibb and Som V, who have crafted the perfect night's sleep. We cannot walk around like sleep zombies the next day. Lisa and her team at Som V understand this. And with over 40 years of quality craftsmanship, Som V sheet sets are designed to create a perfect environment to offer you a restful night's sleep. They use the highest quality fabrics, and they have products that focus on temperature regulation. Ladies, you know what I mean about that. With their products that include mattress enhancers to sheet sets, lots of different kinds of unique pillows, comforters, blankets, and more. They literally have you covered and ready for a quality night's sleep. All the products with Somv will wrap you in luxury each and every night. The people at Somv are committed to one thing: a quality night's sleep. So connect with Lisa Gibb, your personal sleep consultant, and build your personal and luxury sleep package today. Connect with Lisa at www.lisagibb.somnvie.com. Invest in your rest with Somv today.
What I tell people all the time is this. I say, you have You have the ability and the talent and the drive to do anything you want to do. Don't let anybody tell you what you have to do. So, as professionals, how I help train teachers and guide teachers and principals and even parents, I help them understand that whole value of how are you smart and question things, right? And when you question things, you don't have to be a jerk. But when you question things, you can say, wait a second, you just said that was best for kids, but we're going with this curriculum that was $10,000 less. Wait a
Mhm.
second, like that doesn't make any sense. If I had a dollar for every time I said, that doesn't make any sense. That's not what's best for kids. So I help people understand that you can question things. One of the problems is, I think, especially women, and excuse my language, but we're made to feel sometimes like we're bitchy. If we are assertive and we say what we need to say, and often I will, at meetings, my principal friends would say, I can't believe you just said that, Heidi. Like, oh my gosh. And I said, well, was I disrespectful? And they said, no, not at all. And I said, but you guys, everybody's talking about it in the teacher's lounge. Everybody's talking about it in the parking lot. Everybody's talking about it on social media. Let's be real. Let's be real. So I think that's where it comes from, is continuing to question what's happening and also empowering people to know you get to decide with your actions, your words, and your expressions what you do in your classroom every day, how you empower every single kid. You get to be that. So sometimes I feel like we can't control the big overall stuff, but I
Mhm.
can control myself. So if I feel like I can't control that big overall stuff, I'm still going to make sure that I'm doing what's right for kids in that classroom, helping parents understand what's right. And what's right means, what is success for this kid, because
Mhm.
it's different for every kid. And I lose my mind when we talk about, grade levels. We have to get kids to grade level. That's called perfection. Like, that's not what it's about. Every kid comes and starts at a different spot. So to get everybody to fourth grade level, that's just stupid. It doesn't make
Right.
any sense. I know it's a goal, but not, there are some kids at the ninth grade level. There are some, and then I talk about the adult level. How many people do you know are at the adult level? So let's stop talking about levels and start talking about progress and growth. Because if
Love
we
that.
keep growing and keep asking questions, that's where we're going to be. Stop letting people tell you what to do and what's right. Because when you know different, you got to speak up.
Absolutely. So yeah, asking those questions, and what a great lesson, not just, again, for the children, but for ourselves as leaders. Those are great questions to ask even with your employees. Let's strong leaders encourage their employees, their team, to be curious. That's how the whole organization grows. So I think
Yeah.
that's a really smart lesson across the board. What I'd like to do now is get into some of the strategies behind this, because as I mentioned, there's a lot of people that are going to be following this that are like, okay, I hear Heidi saying, I'm pumped up. I'm ready to go start my business. Yeah, how do I do that? So, one of the things that I love is, again, you're very honest. You're like, I didn't really have a safety net. I didn't have all this money in savings. I went for it. So, what would be some advice that you would give somebody if they're sitting here today and they're like, I'm ready, I'm going to do it? Strategically, what are maybe 3 to 5 things they should do to get them going forward and to do it the right way?
Right. So I think the first thing is, do not stop moving your feet, because there's so much that can stop us, that scare us. Obviously, we need some financial security. So I student taught, or not student taught, I did that 30 years ago. I substitute taught because I knew I needed some income. I got my insurance license. Like, I just did all these crazy things that I was like, well, I could make a little money here. I could make a little money there. Those things didn't mean a whole lot to me, even though I was helping people. So I like that. And that makes me feel good. But in the back of my mind, I'm reading books. I'm ordering everything off of Amazon that I can, right? Business for dummies. How do I start a business? How do I do taxes? How do I figure this out? And then I kept building my own content,
Mhm.
because I had 25 years of stuff that I taught, and I'm a leader. I know how to be a leader. I know that it's about people. So I just started little by little by little, and that is hard to do when you want to get things done. But those teeny little steps, I feel like you just can't stop. And then all of a sudden you're going to wake up and be like, I have all this content. Oh my gosh, maybe I could go speak at the library, or I could go ask the local school, and doing things for free at first too, because you have to get your name out there. And that's okay. And that doesn't feel successful, but it is.
Yeah.
Because the minute somebody sees you and believes in you, now you get that feeling of, oh my gosh, I can do this. And all these people are lighting fires under you, and you're still getting pink slips in the mail a little bit from the water company. But I'm like, okay, I'll pay them when they're going to shut my water off, you know? And that sounds crazy, but the biggest thing is to not stop, because I don't
Love
think
it.
there is a perfect formula. The perfect formula is, it's in my head, it's in my heart, it's in my soul, and it's the belief in myself. And I don't know that there's a perfect way to do it, but I just know that I never ever stopped. And I still have days where I think, what am I doing? Like, is this all good? Am I okay? And then I go speak and I get that spark and I'm like, oh, hell yes, this is okay. Like, let's go. What am I going to do next? What book am I going to write next? So I think that that's what it is. And I think another key, Clara, is having somebody by your side. I don't care if it's a spouse, a partner, a friend, who keeps loving and believing in you. And that was my husband. I mean, I'm like, he's going to think I'm nuts. Like, but he kept saying, I do believe in you. I do believe in you. I'm like, I'm not crazy. No, I don't think you're crazy. I think you need to keep doing it. And when you have even that one person, and it helps you keep going, because what's in our brain is all that doubt. And I don't need any doubters. I don't need anybody telling me I can't do it. And if I do, I'm going to get rid of you, you know? So, I mean, I don't know if that was 5 or 6 things,
No,
but
I love it. And it all kind of, it reminds me of, the movie Finding Nemo with Dory, just keep swimming. And you're
yes,
absolutely right. Action breeds action. And so many of those things, I did the exact same thing when I started with my consulting business, back in 2000, 5-ish, and working on that. Same thing. I was teaching lunch and learns, who can I come in, all of those things. And I'm getting business today still from some of those things that I did in the mid 2000s. And then when I pivoted, and I still do a lot in real estate, and I am pivoting into other organizations and other industries, it was the same thing. Can I come in and just give a free session?
yes,
One, I was working every day, and remembering the paychecks come after we put the work in. And
yeah,
so none of these were wasted time. And I had a lot of people saying, but you're not getting paid. You're not getting paid. And I was like, it will come. I have to show my value first. And I have, because now I can still post it. I can say, oh, I'm speaking here. Nobody needs to know if or how much I'm getting paid. It starts the energy going. And you're right. You're building the relationships, you're building your confidence, you're building the momentum. And none of those things are a waste of time. So I really love that you're doing those same things as well.
yes.
You did, because
Nothing's a
now you're
waste of time.
successful. So yeah. And
Yeah,
I
like you
still do it.
said,
There's still times where I'm like, it makes good business sense for me to go and do something for either free or a discounted rate, because I know it's going to open the doors.
yes, right.
Mhm.
As many, all everybody sees you, and then they take that away and they go tell some more people, and they go tell some more people, and they go tell some more people. And that's how it works. It's organic, and it's unbelievable. And it's
It is.
like,
Love
it's
it.
hard to believe, but that's
Yeah.
how it happens, you know,
Yeah.
and you just
I
can't
love
stop
it.
believing that.
Exactly. And again, one of the things I always do is never forget where you came from as well. I see that a lot with people who are so far ahead, and we have to always remember and have that humility, of
Yes.
where we came from, and being willing to help the others that are coming, together. And I think, being a teacher, you see that because you would always see the new students coming in, and again, like you said, everybody learns differently, everybody's situation is different, and I think we have to have that, and give other people grace along with it.
Yes.
So
Yes. You know what else that made me think of real quick is,
mhm.
when you are an entrepreneur and you start all of this, and if money does start coming in and you start getting paid for things, you start to question, like, especially as an educator, you
Yeah.
start to question, like, why am I getting paid for this? I'm just teaching. Like, they're going to pay me that money to come in and,
Mhm.
but Heidi, look at like the value that you're giving. And I keep thinking of Taylor Swift. I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, she puts on these amazing shows and she makes, God only knows how much money, and she loves doing what she does. And I'm like, there's no way she sits at home and says, oh, my worth is not there. No, but that's a hard thing to kind of get over,
It
you know,
is.
like,
Yeah.
because you want to give to people. And that's what makes me feel good, is that whole making a difference to somebody. It feels awesome.
It really does. It really does. I was just having that conversation with my internal head this morning of, how grateful I am to be able to do a job that I would still do even if I didn't need money.
Yes.
I love it. So, this has been an amazing conversation, and I know that this journey that you're on is nowhere near being done. You are, again, you're a creator like me, which is one of the things I love so much and connected with you on. So tell us a little bit about what Heidi's doing now and what's next for you.
Yeah, I just started this. I published my third book in June. It's called Soaring Balloons and Heavy Shackles, Turning Trauma Research into Practice to help educators and parents and coaches and mentors and society in general just understand what happens in the brain when either we're traumatized or we're misunderstood, but more importantly, what can we do about it? Like, how can we be proactive? So I have a national book study going on that's going to start on October 2nd. People get both copies of my book. My first book, Those Kids Are Our Kids, and then Soaring Balloons and Heavy Shackles. I've created discussion guides for both. We're going to do webinars. They get my posters and all kinds of things. So I'm so excited. It'll be 4 times a year that we meet together. And then I have all these surprises that I'm going to send schools that they don't even know about yet.
Oh,
So people are signing up for that. And I'm really excited because the whole goal for that is we got to talk about it. We need the discussion, and educators do need tools to help understand behavior because behavior is really hard. But when we look at behavior as the kids having a hard time, not giving me a hard time, we can thrive as people.
oh,
So that's
love
what
it.
I try to teach. And
Yeah.
then I am starting, I don't know how to do this yet, but it's in my brain and I've written it out. Online classes for people to take and get grad credit, because that's the thing for educators too is, well, I want credit for it, right? And you should get credit for what you do, and sometimes teachers and educators have to figure it out themselves. But it's not just a boring like click, click, click class. No, I'm going to give you some talks. I'm going to show you some videos. I'm going to give you these strategies. Go try them. So I'm trying to figure out how do I create an online class? Because I don't know how yet, but that's part of it too. So my book study is live right now on my website. People can sign up for that. And then it is now these online opportunities that aren't a waste of people's time, that are fun and productive for them.
Fabulous. And we're going to put all of your contact information and all these links in the show notes. So for those of you, that are interested in learning more about Heidi and everything she has to offer, check those out, go to her website and, connect with her. So Heidi, one last question before we wrap it all up in a pretty bow. We talked about creating success on our terms as we opened the show. What I'd like to ask you now to close out the show is sitting where you sit today. How do you define success for yourself now?
I define success for myself as the feeling I get when I finish speaking and I have people hugging me and I have people thanking me and I have people in tears and I have people just saying, thank you. Like people will say, God put you here for a reason, or this is your life's calling. You figured out exactly what you want to do. And then I know I'm doing the right thing. That like inner peace to me is like, it's not the paycheck. I mean, money is great. Everybody knows that, but that's not what it is. It's that feeling I get when I leave a speaking engagement or a consulting or a coaching. And it's that feeling I get when my husband always calls and says, how did it go? And I'm like, babe, I love what I do. And even though like beforehand I'm nervous and I get a little like, I'm like, why do I get like this? And then at the end, it's that peace.
Yeah.
I love it. And that I have control over it. That's what is success for me.
Love that. Well, Heidi, you are incredible. And yes, you can just see that you are in your zone because you can see it how you light up and you can hear it in your voice. So it has been an honor having you here on the show. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with all of us. I know that I took away some great nuggets and value, and I just look forward to watching you grow and impact even more lives. So thank you again for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Here are my notes. I couldn't like write fast enough, Heidi, as you were going. So here are the moments of clarities that I have is again, be peaceful at the end of the day. Be peaceful. Just, feel good about what you're doing. One of the things that I loved that she said is the formula. How do you know that you're in the right formula and you're doing the right things? It's when you know it's right in your head, your heart, and your soul. Loved that. When she talked about never a right time, oh my God, how many of us feel that way? Oh, I'm just going to wait until I have this in place. There's never a right time, people. So leap, do it. Again, if it doesn't work out, do something different or go back. Remember, it reminds me of that quote, you're not a tree. You can pick up and walk away. So again, walk where you need to walk. Powerful, powerful, tap into the now. How are you feeling now? Because if you're not happy right now, why do you want to stay in the now? Yes, the future is uncertain. The now is now. And if you're not happy now, I can tell you if you stay here, you're not going to be happy in tomorrow's now. So why not change it? And just again, question. Question things. Go for what's right. Allow yourself to question, encourage others around you to question, because when we question, that's the curiosity, and that's where we can really dive into greatness. So I hope that you took away some nuggets from this show. As you can see, I did so many very, very powerful things that we talked about, not just for you, but for your children, your significant others, the people around you, the people that you lead. So make sure that each and every day you are following your peace. You're living in greatness. You're questioning so that you can grow. And remember, you got to take action. Never stop moving your feet. So thank you for being here. Thank you for following. Make sure that you share this with at least 5 other people out there so that they can keep moving in the direction of their dreams. I'm Clara Capano, and this is Women Winning Their Way.